This week on Game Rushmore, we have a super great time. Hello, everybody, our dearest listeners. Today, we are going to venture into our childhoods, at least some of ours. Probably everybody in this room, because we're all old. And we remember the great times of the Super Nintendo. But before we talk about that, let's introduce ourselves. I am Mike, the host. And with me is...
my name's Josh.
My name is Brandon.
And then joining us via the wonders of technology...
Aaron.
Yay!
Yay.
You think that we'd have a better voice over IP option than Skype at this point? Like, why is Skype the thing?
It's a good question.
Because it's hype.
It's a Microsoft conspiracy. So, anyways, the probably the biggest thing that has happened this week was the release of the Super Nintendo Classic.
The release of the original Super Nintendo.
Yep. And I believe one of us was lucky enough to secure one.
That's right.
I mean, I have
those
one in
that
the
don't
mail.
have a real Super Nintendo.
I mean, secure one in their immediate possession.
I guess.
I have one in my hands.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that thing is adorable. Aaron is showing it up on the camera. It looks like a Super Nintendo except super small, and it's adorable. And I want one.
It's small. I wouldn't say it's super small.
The little buttons even slide.
The eject button doesn't work, though. What's up with that?
It doesn't work?
The eject button, yeah.
Oh.
You push it, nothing happens. Doesn't even go in.
So I guess we'll just dive right into this. So Aaron, tell us about your experiences with this wondrous gift Nintendo has bestowed upon us.
So, like the NES Classic that came out last year, this is their next little hardware entry, collecting 20 SNES games. You just hook up through HDMI, and it has plugs for Super Nintendo controllers. The actual, they feel like the actual Super Nintendo controller did. It comes with two, unlike the NES.
Oh.
So one of the games included on the Super Nintendo Classic here is Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting.
Oh, that's a good one.
You definitely want to have two controllers for that one. But it's all the classic games that you could think of for the Super Nintendo. There's, a couple of notable exclusions, but I think they did a pretty good job with the overall selection of the games that are on there. But one particularly interesting fact about these games is that they also included an unreleased Super Nintendo game, which is Star Fox 2.
Whoa.
So, yeah, it's really crazy.
Have you played Star Fox 2 yet?
I have a little bit, and it's kind of hard.
No.
It looks hard.
Is it that much different from the original Star Fox?
It's very different, actually. The original Star Fox is kind of, a linear path. You select kind of a difficulty, and you go from stage to stage. In this, you are kind of moving freely on a map of the area, the galaxy, or whatever, and you're trying to intercept any threats to Corneria, the planet, while you try to, make your way over to the main bad guy, which is Andros. And so he'll set up bases on different planets in the galaxy, and you have to, manually choose to fly to different bases. and attack them, or else they'll keep shooting missiles at the planet. And then every stage you go to will take up like actual time in the overworld map. So if they're shooting missiles and you decide to go take off some base somewhere, if you take too long, those missiles are going to hit the planet.
It's like Dead Rising, but
Yes.
Star Fox. It's like, yeah. So it's got kind of like this weird, like real time strategies sort of, because there's like resources and stuff too, right? Or anything.
I don't know about resources or anything.
Or I guess
but
it's just the time is the biggest thing.
Yeah, and what's weird is that you select two characters, a pilot, co-pilot, that you play as, and then you go through the game, and if you lose one, you switch to the co-pilot, your wingman, or yeah, I guess it wouldn't be co-pilot, but then if that person dies, that's the game over. You have to start from the beginning.
So you have like 2 lives, and that's it for each planet.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you maybe if you lose a pilot, you go back to the base. If you could like select one of the other available pilots. I'm not sure.
Are there new pilots in this?
Yeah, there's 2 new characters that haven't been in any other Star Fox game that I know of. There's like I think a bobcat or something.
Yeah.
And a poodle. I don't know their names.
Bobcat Poodle.
Bobcat Poodle, I think is their name.
I guess that's a point. They didn't have cats or dogs in the original, did they?
There were little woodland animals in the first one.
The general was a dog. General Pepper.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. He was a woodland
And then
dog.
Star Fox
though.
64. Star Fox 64 had a cat.
So I've been watching a little bit of this game like on YouTube, and it seems like, putting it into context with it being a Super Nintendo game, it does some pretty like advanced things. Like it seems like it's more of a step up from even the first one in terms of like its graphics and like what they're doing with like the camera and like just how unusual the structure is, that you described. But there's some things about it that, I mean, I don't know, not having played it, but like there's parts where it's like you're in space, just in pure space, and it's like free, you're not on a rail like in traditional, which is kind of cool because there's a little bit of like dogfighting that wasn't really in the first one, because the first one's really just like, it's like Afterburner or those kind of like very linear on the rail arcade shooters. But it's played in first person, which it's kind of weird to like see a Star Fox game has large portions of it. It seems like just in first person.
I mean, the second one had that.
Well, sorry. The first game, when you went into space, they would put you into first person like that, exactly how it is in Star Fox 2. But in Star Fox 2, you don't have the option to go back and forth from those viewpoints.
Right. Yeah, because I do remember you could do it, but there wasn't it seems like in this one they just lock you into it, because like when I would play the original, I would just go right back into third person because I like my R-Wing. Because it looked cool. But anyways, yeah, and then there's like ground parts where you can like transform your R-Wing into like a little walker.
Like a chicken.
Yeah, it looks kind of derpy, but kind of cool at the same time. Like those parts.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, I've never liked it in any of the Star Fox, even Star Fox 64, which is my favorite, where they have like the ground parts. Like I'd always just rather stay in the fighter.
The tank's all right in Star Fox 64.
You can do the little flip.
Yeah, you can do a tank barrel roll, which really should be part of our national defense tank barrel rolls.
Get on that U.S. military.
Yeah, seriously, it deflects all the bullets. Why wouldn't you want that?
So how do you think this one stacks up to like the original and Star Fox 64?
It's hard to say because as far as like choosing what you're doing and how you're attacking the stages, it's probably the most interesting Star Fox game in that regard, but the actual playing of the game is definitely dated.
Yeah, it runs at like 6 frames a second.
Yeah, it's not that bad, but it's definitely hard to play sometimes.
Yeah.
Is that why they didn't
So-
release it? Because it couldn't like perform on the console?
No, it was more that they had the Super Nintendo, or sorry, the N64 coming out very soon,
Oh.
and they didn't want that to look like it was indicative of what the N64 was capable of.
Alternatively, they could have. I guess it took them a while to release Star Fox 64, didn't it?
I wouldn't be surprised if it's because it was hard too. Seems like when a game is hard, they don't want to bring it over here.
Well, I mean, it didn't even get released in Japan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this
Yeah.
game didn't get released.
Oh, wow.
The only people that have ever played this game are there was an unfinished build that was available, and Nintendo finished the game but never released it, and so nobody's had the finished game until they released it on this thing.
Yeah, there's been like a leaked
wow.
like build from like a trade show or something that's been around for a while, and people have kind of like put it together. But like Josh said, this is like the first time we've been able to play it from beginning to end in its complete form. So I wonder if like they've had to go back and like with this release do all the not dubbing but the translation. Like I wonder if it existed before with the English translation, or if all this is brand new stuff.
It existed before with the English translation.
Oh, it did. Okay.
Yeah, I think it was
Eh.
done, and plus the way they
Yeah.
they did the Star Fox. I mean, it was by people that spoke English in the first place.
Yep.
So one of the things I noticed in one of the playthroughs I watched is that there is a Captain Wolf, which then he come back as a villain in N64 as Star Wolf.
Is that
Yeah.
him? Captain
no,
Wolf?
it's Star Wolf. Star Wolf is
He's on your team.
actually in the game. No, he's not on the team.
Oh,
His team attacks you throughout the game.
Oh, so like in the Star Fox 64.
Yeah, so it's even like the same characters, Leon and Pigma. They'll show up, and then after you defeat them, they'll have you fight Wolf.
Is Pigma still the one that killed your father?
I don't think so.
Such an interesting. I really like Star Fox, and I hate that every other game that's come out since 64 has been trash.
Armada wasn't bad.
I really like Star Fox 64.
Yeah, I do too.
Oh, Star Fox 64
I like
is
that one.
great.
Everything else in that series has been good to bad.
Yeah. Like Armada was almost great until you had to play the parts where you're on foot, and it's like, why? It's so bad.
Exactly.
But anyways, so getting away from that, what are other titles that are on this collection that have made you really excited?
I won't just run down all the titles, but the noteworthy ones are definitely Earthbound, Final Fantasy 3, which was originally 6, and Secret of Mana. So like 3 really hardcore, excellent RPGs.
Yeah, I mean there was a lot of RPGs on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, and there's more that they could have put on
the golden
here.
age.
Yeah,
Kinda, yeah. And then I mentioned Street Fighter, but classic Nintendo games, the things that you would expect will be on here: Super Mario World, Yoshi's Island, Super Metroid, Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past.
I think
It's a good collection.
and I think the one that I'm most excited to play might seem as an odd choice, but Super Castlevania 4 is on there.
Yeah,
I love Super
That was a good
Castlevania
one.
4. It's so good.
it's a very good game. And another thing that I've been noticing playing these is how many of these games just have amazing soundtracks, including Castlevania.
Oh, it still holds up today. Like
Yeah.
it's just incredible, like how good it is.
I mean Super Nintendo had a pretty good sound chip in it.
Yeah, developed by
Yep.
Sony.
Yeah, good old Sony
Yeah.
working hand in
Thank you,
hand with
Sony.
Nintendo.
Yep. What could have been. So
I like my Sony now.
You're Sony now.
I like my
all
Sony.
independent away from Nintendo.
I like Nintendo and I like Sony.
They're separate things.
Just like Level 5 when they assisted with Dragon Quest and then they branched off and then they did their own good stuff.
So, is there anything more else you'd like to say about the Super Nintendo Classic? Anybody?
I am skeptical that those controllers are the same. I need to go fill an old controller because I feel like they're thicker.
Well, I've got one around here. I can take a look, but
Report
they're
back.
They're pretty close.
The biggest question though is if you leave this Classic out, will it start to turn yellow? That's the true test if it's...
I read something that said that will not happen with these.
Thank goodness.
That sounds like this thing is a fraud.
You know what does that, right? It's the flame retardant stuff that they added to the plastic.
Ah.
And then, like, I think there are a version of or maybe not a version of Super Nintendo. But, like, they stopped using it for future plastics on consoles, so they stopped yellowing like that. And there's stuff that you can buy that will de-yellow your Super Nintendo.
Oh. Mine actually never did yellow, but a lot of my friends did.
Mine didn't. Mine was in pristine condition.
Mm-hmm. Kept it in a vault. Brandon never played his Super Nintendo.
I did, but, under pristine condition.
So do we think that Super Nintendo is maybe the best console of all time?
I mean, if I had to choose a console, I don't know why I would.
I would have to think about that. Yeah, I mean, it definitely represents a time when video games was at its peak. I mean, it had great games coming out, the quality of the system, the quality of the controllers, the price, everything about it was great.
It has like such a solid library too, and
yeah,
like I feel like nowadays, consoles will come out and they will have great libraries, like the 360, for example. But I feel like even Nintendo kind of abandoned the systems like a year or two before the next one comes out. And Super Nintendo was like solid all the way until it was done.
It was solid to the point where they almost released a video game but held it back.
Yeah.
They finished a video game and were like, no, this is the cutoff point.
I mean, like Nintendo's like later output on that system was still like super good. Like Yoshi's Island.
Yeah.
It was like one of the last ones they released, and it's
plus
like,
aesthetically,
so
aesthetically, Super Nintendo games don't age as badly as the early polygonal stuff. Like a PlayStation, I'd be like, I'd be hard pressed to say, if I only had one console for the rest of my life, it would be PlayStation because those things are big old chunky things.
That's the weirdest thing is when polygons started appearing, they looked so good at the time. And we considered it, at least I considered it such an upgrade, but it really just, it depreciates. Whereas pixel art, that will stand the test of time. It's like gold
because it's art.
And its weight.
Yeah,
it's art. It was just pure art. Artists drew things, and
I think for me, like the Super Nintendo released at like the perfect time in my life because that's like right when I was starting like freshman year. And going through high school and just like my imagination, like the Super Nintendo just really captured like my imagination, and it was just like everything was like awe-inspiring, like the music and everything, because like as a kid, I grew up on like the Atari, which had like abysmal sound, and like Nintendo was definitely a step up, but like the Super Nintendo with its sound was just like such a generational leap. And there was like entire genres that I was introduced to through the Super Nintendo. Like I played like Dragon Warrior, the original, on Nintendo, but I didn't really start to appreciate Japanese role-playing games or role-playing games in general until the Super Nintendo. Like Final Fantasy IV was like, or 2 was like transformative.
For me, it was the PlayStation. It wasn't until the PlayStation came around, but because I had Dragon Warrior as well, and I hated it. I was like, this game is horrible. This isn't a game. This is just hitting the A button. And then it was just so hard. I didn't get it because it was, there was nothing. It was a tough barrier of entry, and there was nothing like it that I had played.
But like fighting games, like Street Fighter 2, like I really feel like most people's like experience from back then with Street Fighter was probably the Super Nintendo Street Fighter.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually pretty amazing how close Street Fighter 2 on Super Nintendo is to the arcade.
Aaron has both controllers, the original and the new one.
Which is
one's
which,
which?
Josh?
The bottom one's the old one.
Oh, Aaron is pulling it out to prove us.
He's right.
Of course I'm right.
Yep.
But
you could
how do
tell
they
because
feel?
of the color.
Yeah, you could tell because of the color. Oh, you know what? Show me the side of the original.
It's a little thicker.
The side?
Yeah, because that's my real concern. And then hold the new one up at the same time. What are you? Why are you showing me one at a time? Oh yeah, you know what? I just misremember the Super Nintendo. It's because it had that big thickness at the top, and I was like, well, this doesn't feel right.
It's
There
more
you go.
pronounced on the original too.
Yeah, you're right. It's a little thicker on the original.
Yep. Very cool.
Nice.
Nicely done, Nintendo.
Yeah, they do a good job of this stuff.
So, Aaron, is there anything else that you have played that's worth discussing, or has it mostly just been Super Nintendo?
I think that's pretty much it for now. I've got some stuff coming up. Cuphead came out.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I need
Yeah.
that Cuphead.
I'm scared of it.
That game
It
looks
looks hard.
pretty good.
It looks insanely good, but hard.
I've been watching people stream it, and I think it's beatable. I think it's the kind of difficulty that
sure,
if you
yeah.
play it, you're good.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of Contra Hardcore that was on the PlayStation 2 because it's very boss runny. Like there's a lot of its boss runs, and like that game was also really, really hard, but Contra Hardcore was actually really cool. And the art and everything in this game is amazing, but I guess we'll have to talk about it when one of us actually plays it. So
Yeah.
so let's move over to Josh.
Hi.
Hello.
I haven't been playing anything new. I've still been playing Divinity Original Sin 2, and it's still great. I felt like these kinds of games, you get into the first area, and then you milk that area dry, because that's what you do. And then whenever you move on to the next area, you don't feel as engrossed. Neverwinter Nights did a great job of making that not the case, because each area, I think back and talk to somebody about an area and be like, oh yeah, that's in the same game. I completely forgot that that's like the second part of that game. But so far this does that, where the new area that I'm in, the new actual area that I'm in, still has just as many things to engage with, just as many quests to fulfill. But I've broken it.
Oh.
And I don't know how to fix it.
What happened?
So there's an item you can get. I don't even remember the name of it. Anyway, it's a statue, and if you put one of your resurrection scrolls and combine it with that statue, it'll bring you back to life when you die once, like it loses its charge. And so whatever character is holding in their inventory, when you die, you'll come back to life.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, oh, cool. I'm running out of space. Let me put this in my backpack. And so in the backpack it went. Now, the inventory system I really like in this game. It's an infinite backpack, but that you can also put bags into it and then open up those bags and put things inside. And
Bags within bags within bags within bags.
potentially.
Yeah.
The problem is, when I put this statue in there fully charged, it worked. I died. I came back to life. I was like, great. And then I looked at my inventory, and there's the uncharged one. It was not in my backpack. It was just in my inventory, uncharged. I was like, oh, okay. And then I went to my backpack, and in there was another one, still fully charged.
So you duplicated it.
Not only that, but it didn't take the charge away from it.
Well, maybe you had another one in there you didn't realize.
No.
How did it know?
There's only one of these.
There's only one of them.
Yeah.
So you put it in the bag.
Yeah.
How did it know it was attached to that character? Oh, it was within a bag within that character's inventory.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
No, I've died several. I tested this.
Did you keep duplicating it?
I now have 30 of them. But that's not even the important part. the important part is when it's in the bag, you can just keep dying and coming back to life infinitely.
It doesn't lose its charge when it's
Because
in
it
the
doesn't
bag.
lose its charge. You're just alive forever. And
Does that that disappoints you?
I don't know. It's hard to tell.
I don't know.
It
This
does.
sounds completely amazing, actually.
Because
It cheapens. It's a cheat.
it's less difficult.
Not intentional.
Because this game is difficult.
Yeah.
And it makes it less difficult when this happens. Because in the fact that I have this is like, I'd have to willfully take it out of my bag and put it in my inventory, which I think I'm going to have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And just use it like it's supposed to be used.
Yes.
And that being said, I now have enough to give one to every one of my team members.
Yeah. How do you get rid of things? Can you destroy them?
You can't sell these. I was like, okay, well, I'll just sell them. And nope, they're worth, they don't even come up on the trade screen. So I just have them. Like, they can go on my boat, I guess. They have a whole.
It's like a curse because it's duplicating. That's the curse of the resurrection doll. As it duplicates itself and you can't get rid of it.
At first I thought maybe I'll just keep them in my bag and the punishment will be that they weigh half a pound. And so they take away from how much I can carry.
Oh, come on.
And then it's like, this is the number of times you died as a marker. And that was fine, except I went to this one area where there was petrification on the ground and I didn't realize it.
Mm-hmm.
And so my guy stepped in it and died and then died and then died. And that's where I got like 20 of them. Is because he was just standing
He resurrected in
the petrification and then kept getting petrified and dying. I was like, oh no, and I couldn't get him out. Eventually I did. Like eventually I had to do this time. I didn't do time stop because you can't, but I mage armored him so that he could live long enough that somebody else could teleport him out of the thing. So yeah, it's gonna have to come out of my bag. But yeah, that's the one.
Have you looked it up online?
Yeah,
people?
It's
a known bug.
At least in the past 4 days, because I think this area wasn't available in the
in the
early access.
Okay.
I think this is the new area, and so anyway, so that's Divinity. Great game, fantastic if you like Neverwinter Nights, Baldur's Gate, those kinds of games. Don't put the resurrection statue in your backpack, or you'll lose.
Unless you believe in reincarnation,
you'll lose the thrill of the game.
I do want to play it because I really like Dragon Age Origins, and this seems like a better version of that in terms of like gameplay and systems.
Different.
Dragon
I would
Age
say
Origins?
different. Yeah, very
Well,
different.
Dragon Age Origins on PC was isometric turn-based like this. Like it was like Dragon Age Origins was very different on PC than it is on console. Very different.
Okay.
So, because it was built by, people who had worked on Baldur's Gate, and that they built it after that model. But, anyways, because it had some things that were similar to this, like you could like tip over oil and then light it on fire and have it spread and stuff. But this just seems like it's way more systems. Like Dragon Age Origins seemed pretty simple by comparison from like the streams and stuff that I've watched of this.
I wouldn't say this has way more systems. It's just there's more things that you can spill on the ground, like poison or fire.
It's just dynamic battleground
or
and
water or blood.
Yeah. The cool thing about Divinity is that it has a lot of detail in the interaction of the game. If you take the original PC game, you would find hidden keys on just on top of a box, and you would have to see that key and then pick it up, click on it, It was just cool. There's a lot of hidden touches, and whereas when you play a game like that, whether it's Baldur's Gate or Icewind Dale, you can kind of see the forest for not the forest for the trees, but like you can see what you can interact with and how they built it with an engine and with parts.
Yeah, it's interesting because you can hold down either Alt or Shift. I Alt Shift all the time to see items on the ground.
Yeah,
but you can't see clickable objects like little caches or something like that. So like you can hold that down, you can be like, oh, there's some mushrooms. And you're like, great, let me go get those mushrooms. But then you can't see like a little tiny pouch in the corner like that. That doesn't highlight. All barrels, treasure chests, doesn't matter. Those don't highlight. You have to mouse over them to see those. But
it's a type of exploration I really appreciated from Divine Divinity and Original Sin.
It's nice. Definitely recommended a game.
Now I have a question for you. Did you ever beat Pillars of Eternity?
No.
Okay. Did you ever beat Tides of Numenera?
No.
Okay. Question. I've been just really looking at those games again and considering going back to Pillars.
So let me tell you
starting over.
Why? Because Pillars is good.
Mm-hmm.
But I never.
I know how it's better than. I know how Divine is better than those games.
Yeah.
Or I shouldn't say Tides. I never played Tides.
Well, so Pillars, I never reached immersion in it because you're going through these areas and you don't have those details that kind of drive you forward. And then Tides, I entered combat once, and then I was just so busy talking to people in the town. Yeah. And those stories are dense. They're densely populated, but they're not as interesting. Like this has interesting stories. So the original Planescape Torment had interesting stories. You had engaging things that you went around and went to. In Tides, I felt like has interesting books written into uninteresting mundane actions. So, but this one has a good mix. It has that balance. And I say Neverwinter Nights because Baldur's Gate also didn't engage me that much. I went pretty far in Baldur's Gate, and it was like, oh, I have to walk so far for something to happen. And then here it's the right balance. So.
Cool. Yeah, it's definitely something I want to check out, but my PC is not up to snuff. I looked at the requirements.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't think it would be that. I don't know.
I wonder if mine is up to snuff.
My computer plays everything.
Your computer is pretty stacked. So, I think we're gonna do something a little bit different and have Brandon go last.
Oh, okay.
Brandon rarely goes last. So, mostly because I don't really have much to talk about. So I am raid ready in Destiny 2. And so we just need to now find a time where we can go and attempt Leviathan.
Ooh.
Yep, I reached power.
Is everyone raid ready?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Everybody's good to go, and I have our 6th person lined up. So it's just a matter of us just deciding when we want to do this.
You did your interviews and you hired the right person?
Yes, I did my interviews and hired the right person.
It's Minnie. They're going to rubber band her paws to the controller.
No, it's actually one of the guys.
Kitty torture.
From the movie podcast that I was once on. So
she tries to get her paw out. She pushes the button.
She's killing everybody. Oh my god.
Wow, it's amazing.
So today we're recording on October 1st, so I wanted to get in the mood for some Halloween. So I started Resident Evil 7.
Ooh.
And I know that that's a game that we've talked about in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But, one thing that bugs me about a lot of other gaming podcasts is that they just talk about something and then they just move on to the next thing. And I feel like it's always worth going back and talking about things that have come out. And so I played it for the first hour, and impressions are very strong. I like it a lot. It's very fun. And it's the good kind of scary, where it feels more
There's
like...
a good kind of scary.
Yeah, there is. I can handle certain types of horror. Now, PT, no. That'll make me, jump out a window because I'm so scared. And, but, Resident Evil 7, it has a really good atmosphere, and it definitely sets up for good scares. But it's also, kind of cheesy and knows it. The stuff that the family says to you, it's borders on Sam Raimi type stuff. It feels more like Evil Dead, where they're just shouting just insane funny stuff, and you're scared of them, but you're kind of laughing at the same time. And I like that. And really what the game feels like to me is an interactive haunted house, like a spook alley or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good. I played through the dinner scene, so I've done all the stuff with your wife, and
Sounds like an insult.
What about
your
my wife?
Your character's wife. One thing I will say though is like your character is like he's like emotionally dead. So like the story is your wife has been missing for 3 years, and you get this mysterious message to go find her, and then you go find her, and your character's just like, oh hey Mia, and she's just like, oh my gosh, she's freaking out, and she's like, I can't believe I've been down here, and your character's just like, okay.
Really?
Yeah, it's just like nothing.
It is kind of weird.
Like nothing really like gets to him, and I mean he sustained some very serious bodily injuries in the first hour, very serious, and he finds a gun and he's just like, oh, it's time to make things even. It's just like, dude, you're bleeding to death, and you're just like, It's like I found this gun, so. Who cares?
Yeah, he adapts to his situation very quickly.
See, and that's what the story's about. He's the real horror,
He kind
the
of-
real Resident Evil.
I mean, it kind of like adds to the game's like silliness, but now I know there's like a spooky girl later, so we'll see how well I handle
Spooky
it.
girl.
And I know like the mother of like this hillbilly family that you're interacting with is far more terrifying than the father.
All
She's
right,
like,
not too much though. I still want to play it.
no,
Someday.
I'm not gonna say what or why, but like I'm saying that like the scares ramp up in the game.
She's not more terrifying. She's just more disgusting.
Yeah. So anyways, I'm gonna be playing it through this month, and it's definitely one of those games that I wanted to get back to because Aaron thought very highly of it, and there's Game of the Year consideration. And so it's like that and Nier are like the two that I really need to.
Did that come
like,
out this year?
Yeah, came out in February or something. Very early.
This is a
I
crazy
think
year.
January.
Or January, yeah. Long time ago. But
Long time.
that's why I've been wanting to play it, because it's like, well, one, I've been scared too, but
So if you're not on next week's podcast, it's because you've jumped out a window.
nah, this game won't do that. Like they're like just creepy,
You never
like,
know.
hillbilly zombie people.
They're
That's
just
not the same.
People out
as,
for my blood.
like PT is about like creepy Lisa Ghost, and she does creepy ghosty stuff, and
And
I can't do that.
You have the right description of it. It's like a haunted house. It's like an interactive haunted house that you get to go through, and there's even like escape room parts. It's
Yeah.
interesting.
I mean, it really is. Like, I mean, if any of the listeners have ever gone to one of those, it's even set up very similarly, where it's like, oh, you're going down this like, dilapidated hallway, and now you're into like this set piece kitchen that's like got like these props and stuff that you can see, and they're all kind of gross, and and then it all kind of sets up for the big boo that comes out, and it's cool. It's very
your
cool.
wife, Boo. What's up, Boo? She's my big boo.
Yep. But other than that, I haven't really been playing anything. So we'll move on to Mr. Becker.
Oh boy, I have been playing Dragon Quest IX till I'm bleeding out my nose.
Oh, that's not good.
I've started over from scratch. I've beat it already. I played it a lot on the bus and at work, and on the weekends I'll stream Dragon Quest 11 that Japanese people are playing while I play Dragon Quest 9. I've
Playing vicariously. I'm fighting metal slimes too.
yeah, pretty much. And let's see, I purchased Battle Chasers Night War for the PS4.
Oh, did that come out?
Interesting.
It's coming out Tuesday.
Oh man, I want to play that really bad.
Well, I'm going to have it, and you can play when I'm done.
Oh, okay.
It was leftovers.
I'll just go and bring your PS4 down to my.
Well, no, I have a physical copy.
Oh, you bought a physical copy.
Oh.
Oh, I didn't know that was going to be a physical copy.
Mm-hmm.
How much is it? 40?
$29.99.
Oh,
I think. Yes, and then if you have Prime, it's $6 off.
so
Yeah.
Battle Chasers is kind of the follow-up to this actually pretty cool 90s comic that was never finished.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I actually liked that comic even though it was 90s. So I'm very curious to see.
Seems like, yeah, it came full circle because he started that comic from playing video games of that era, right?
Yes, Yep.
And then now he has this, more people like him should be making video games, in my opinion.
Well, he made the Darksiders, which is a good series. I liked. Well, I guess I didn't play the second one, but I really liked the first one a lot. So I have faith that he can make a good game. I'm excited for this.
And also Helldivers. Been playing a lot of Helldivers.
Helldivers.
Yeah, that's right. I got to protect Super Earth.
Brandon went back in time. Like,
Well-
hey guys, have you heard of Helldivers? Actually, you played it when it first came out.
Yeah. Well, it's been free, and I've been sitting on it for a while, with PlayStation Plus. So, yeah, just having fun with that. Unlock some stuff. I think I'm level 13. I can solo 6. I think it goes from 1 to 12, 12 being hell diving, challenging.
I don't remember much about this game. Which one is Helldivers?
Helldivers is isometric or top-down twin stick shooter. You go onto randomly generated planets to do random objectives based on your level and what challenge, and you unlock things, and
You got like a cape.
Oh, wait.
yeah.
It's great.
This one's, you can play co-op, right? Like local
Yes,
co-op?
it's 4.
Oh, okay. Now I remember this one.
Up to 4 people, and it's by default people will jump in and play with you, and it's friendly fire is on, so it's
super
crazy.
on.
2 guys jumped in. I'm like, what the? I didn't invite these people, and then they're all like helping me. I'm like, yeah, and then one threw a grenade and it blew me up, and I'm like, no. But so this game is a lot of fun. They have a new feature since I've last played it, where it's called it's everyone contributes. You have 3 different factions, and you're working towards getting to their home planet and destroying their home planet, taking it over. And you can see how many people are online, where they're at, and then at the end, if you can succeed at all 3, then it resets. So, and then real-time events happen, and you gotta do things. And so there's definitely features of the game I haven't tried yet. Like one was I had to infiltrate some base, and I couldn't because I didn't have enough influence. And every time you defeat a planet, you get influence. Defeat a planet, perform the objectives, and as you progress with more challenging levels, the things you do increase, which has impressed me as well, because I thought, it's going to be the same, collect this, deliver it, or capture this zone, or defend this zone. But there's one where I'm like, how do I do this? I had to call down a metal detector, go to a minefield, find 3 hidden mines, and then disarm them. And if you mess up, then they blow up in your face and you die, all the while fending off, hordes.
You do that by yourself?
I did it by myself.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It is. So you're just, the idea is to really kill those that would set off alarm, because there's 3 different races that actually function 3 different ways, and you have the bugs and these cyborg things, and then this high tech Illuminati. I don't know, the Luminates or something. I don't know what they're called, but it's fun. So I've been playing that, and then I downloaded and played Happy Dungeon. This is free to play. It's interesting. It was originally on 360 or Xbox One. I'm sorry. And maybe PC, and it has a an in-game shop, a paywall, so to speak. You don't need to pay anything, but it definitely tries to hook you, where if you get so many diamonds, you can buy a pack of 5 cards, and one of those cards is an epic item or something, and you're just it slowly reveals each card. You're like, ooh, did I get a rare? Did I get a and there are things you can spend. I mean, there is an item that costs $100, and it's like just all it is this end-game currency to buy cards. $100 real dollars, and
what?
And that's something like, oh, I'm glad that's there for these people that spend $100 on just items that. It's interesting, yeah. And so it was interesting. There's a lot of loot in it, and it's like a fun little game, yeah. And but Helldivers is better. I like Helldivers, and I think I'm going to play Dragon Quest VI again. I have it. I've been playing so much of my 3DS on the bus and at work that I want to go back and play. Sounds bad, but I'm just a very proficient worker. Okay, Mike. But I want to go back and beat it. And I guess I can do it. I started with Ni no Kuni. I went back and restarted it. Wasn't sure if I'd beat it again, and I did, and I ended up platinum it. And then I've now since then gone back to Dragon Quest IX, replayed it and beat it. I'm trying to think of what else did I do that with.
I can see this. This is Brandon's eventual path to buying a Switch.
Yeah.
How so?
Because eventually you'll play every game again on the 3DS, and then something will come out on the Switch, and you're like, well, that's a portable system, and I have no other thing to play on portable systems.
Yeah.
What system is Dragon Quest 11 coming out on?
It is coming out. There's two different versions. One for the 3DS, and then one for the PlayStation 4, and then eventually it's going to come out for the Switch. But the interesting thing about the 3DS version is there's two different versions you can play on it. You can play the original. You can play a 2D version of it, so you can actually play it as though it was an original Dragon Quest game, or maybe like Dragon Quest 3, not like the original. Yeah, sprite based, and it's the entire game to my understanding. And then you can play a 3D version of it, which is probably similar to 9 but a little better because it's on a 3DS, whereas 9 was on the DS. And then
similar to probably 7 and 8, because those are 3DS games.
Okay. Yeah. And then eventually for the Switch. So that's a good. I wonder if I would, because I want to play it portably, but I like how it looks so good on the PS4. And I mean, I definitely.
You seem to be beside yourself.
I am
excitement on
super hyped for. I'm surprised I've been playing this much. I've beaten the game on Dragon Quest IX, and I've actually surpassed the amount of grottos that I did, which are the treasure maps. I've leveled higher than I was originally, and I've done quests, and it's just I finally unlocked because the maps that you unlock are based on your level and your amount of revocation. Revocation is getting to level 99 and then resetting. And let's just say I'm only at level 55. I haven't even. The fact that people can even get to level 99, let alone resetting that and redoing it on the same class, and there's multiple classes. I mean, this game goes on and on.
I felt the same way about Disgaea, like the original Disgaea, because I was at like level 80, and I was like, what's the max level? What? How do people like?
Yeah,
it was like 9,999 was the max level or something.
And
or
people
maybe
reset those levels on the new Disgaeas to increase. People love that type of grind and yeah. So that's what I've been doing. I really want to. I think I haven't decided what will be the end point for me, whether it's of just me getting bored of it or just saying I want to at least beat one legacy boss. Legacy bosses are these rare maps that don't come until later. So the legacy bosses in this game are old Dragon Quest bosses. There's a boss in this dungeon that's asleep, and I can't fight it because you need to actually download the quest. And I can't download it because I can get my 3DS online, but I can't get my DS online, my DS cartridge connected, because it's saying that it's incorrect, invalid something. So I think I actually need one of those Wii to DS or Wii to 3DS Wi-Fi things where it doesn't require a passcode or a web.
I think it might be that the DS online capabilities are no longer functioning.
That would be so unfortunate. Then I need a 3DS or I need a DS because I need to get that quest.
I mean, you should still be able to connect to our Wi-Fi network, though. And that's the problem you're having, right? You
I
can't
cannot
connect to the
yeah.
Wi-Fi. Which one are you trying to connect to?
I'm trying to connect to the one here. Yeah, Wookiee of Doom. But I think, I mean, it makes sense if the DS online capability is not working.
Maybe.
So, I mean, that's what I've been doing. I'm going to look forward to playing Battle Chasers Night War, and then really just trying to go back and replay these games. So, until I build up my financial nest egg, so I feel comfortable buying
Games again.
$60 games again. Yeah.
Just one last thing. So there's a trailer for Battlefront 2 out called "This Is Battlefront 2" with John Boyega doing the narration, who plays Finn from Force Awakens. That game looks so good. Oh my gosh,
does.
that game looks so freaking cool.
Battlefront looked good. This looks good. Hopefully, it won't be a disappointment like the original Battlefront,
Yeah.
or not the original, but
All right. So are we up for a gaming 20 questions? This will be my last week doing this, and then I'll hand the reins over to Aaron because I know he wants to.
All
To do some.
sure.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So I'll just go over the rules real quick. You must always be asking or talking, because if too much silence goes by, you will forfeit a question.
You must talk or you die.
If you ask a question that specifically names a game, that is your final question. So if you get it wrong, you will lose.
So don't name a game.
So don't name a game. So you can't be
okay.
like, is it Legend of Zelda?
Is it
And
Dragon Quest?
And it turns out to be Street Fighter.
You
And of course your questions must be yes or no. So let us begin.
Has it ever been released on PC?
No.
Did this game originally come out in the past 10 years?
No.
Is it on a portable system?
No.
All right. What systems came out in the last 10 years, guys? Or after? What does 10 years tell you, Aaron?
That's gonna be.
So 10 years was an arbitrary number then.
2007.
Yeah.
Before pre 360 and PS3.
Pre 360 and PS.
So PS2, Xbox.
Okay.
Before.
Was this game exclusively released on a Nintendo console?
Yes.
Oh.
Okay.
All right, Nintendo.
Narrows it
So what
down.
do we got for Nintendo? 2007. What was out?
64.
64 or older?
GameCube.
Or GameCube.
GameCube.
or older.
Yeah.
All right.
Was this game developed by a Japanese company?
Yes.
And non-handheld. Should
So
we ask those systems until we figure out which system it's on?
No.
No.
Hold on. So this is going to be a Japanese company on the GameCube, which makes it most likely, if I had to guess, Nintendo first party.
Uh-huh.
It could have been
not the
before the
GameCube, not
GameCube.
the
Yeah, it could be
Yeah, you're
before
right.
the GameCube.
I don't know why I thought it was GameCube.
I don't know, because you said before.
Maybe we should narrow down the
It was
console.
before GameCube.
Or
Yeah,
the genre.
let's narrow down the console. So, I'm going to ask, was this on the GameCube?
No.
See?
Okay, so then
You should have
before-
asked if this was on the Super Nintendo.
Do we want to ask that?
No.
Mike, was this on the Super Nintendo?
Yes.
All right, so this is a Super Nintendo game
From Japan.
from Japan, which does not narrow it down.
No.
N64, it would have narrowed it down. Super Nintendo does not narrow it down. Jack. Should we go for genre?
It would be it's kind of hard at this point. So
Well, at least Super Nintendo was very genre specific in its games.
let's think of some games for. We have Capcom. We have
We could try publisher. Developer.
All right.
Konami.
I have a guess.
Already of the game.
No, not the game, a publisher
All right, go for it.
or developer. Was this developed by Square?
No.
Mm.
I'm gonna say I think I know what the game is already, but I can't say the game.
Then go for developer.
But you can talk about
I'm gonna
it
say
among
it-
yourselves.
It's definitely Capcom.
Well, I don't know.
It is. No, I don't know.
No.
I think he's trying to throw us, though. I think this is a non-Mike game.
Mike,
Yes, sir.
is this a Nintendo first party game?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a different publisher.
So
or
now
different,
it's either Capcom or Konami.
you think so?
Yeah.
All right. Well, then
I'd say
Brandon
it's-
thought it was Capcom. So
Is it Capcom?
No.
Ooh.
Okay, it's Konami.
I bet it's not Konami. I bet you.
Is it a
That's 10, by the way.
side, Mike?
Yes.
Is it a side-scrolling space shooter?
No.
Okay. Okay. I had a suspicion.
Super Nintendo game.
So,
Not Nintendo, not Capcom.
what other Japanese publishers do we have, or
Developers.
developers?
I don't, and it's not Square.
Nope.
I don't think there's any other.
Do we want to ask if it's Konami?
Ask if it's what?
Do we want to ask if it's Konami? Konami. Do we want to ask that?
No.
Are we just assuming it's Konami? Should we ask genre?
No. No, hold on.
So name possible Japanese. That's the direction we're going, right?
Yeah,
So
it's
name
Japanese
I'm sorry, developers that are not first party. Nintendo. I don't know, Hudson,
Yeah, there's a lot.
Enix, Konami, Atari.
I guess it could
Atari's
be
not
Enix.
Japanese.
Did we say it was Japanese?
Yeah.
When did we ask if it was Japanese?
That was either the first or second question.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That narrows it down.
Not really. It's the Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I bet it's what Konami games? Name multiple Konami games.
Castlevania 4.
Ooh, okay.
Uh,
Which one was Super Ghouls and Ghosts? Was that Capcom?
That's
yeah, it's
Capcom.
Capcom.
Okay. Street Fighter was Capcom.
Yes.
Ooh, you know what? I could ask if the series was originally released on the Super Nintendo. That'll at least tell us if it's
What would that tell you?
It's not Castlevania if that's the case. You know, if that's not true.
Oh, you mean the original?
Yeah,
Like if it's
is
a
this part
sequel.
of a series or not?
Why don't we just ask if it's a sequel?
Oh, that'd be fine. All right, Mike, is this game a sequel or part of a series?
It is not a sequel, no.
Oh,
Well, is it either of those things?
The second one's hard to answer.
Okay, that's fine. That's enough information right there. So it's kind
Cheater.
of part of a series, but not really.
well, it's not a sequel, so
It's not a sequel.
that means it's not Castlevania.
Right. I mean, it's not Castlevania.
It's not.
I wonder if it's
What was F-Zero?
remember Firebrands from that one game? That was never a Super Nintendo one, huh? Oh no, that was a sequel. It was on. No.
Super Mario Kart?
Also, it's Capcom.
Oh, that was
so
Nintendo.
I have a thought,
Okay.
Mike. Was this game published by Enix?
No.
What, you
Yeah,
thought it was
that
like a
cuts out-
Gaia game or something?
ActRaiser or Illusion of Gaia?
Yeah. Well, this is pretty
Well-
difficult.
Well, what Konami games can you think of?
I like that we're focusing on Konami.
I can't think of any other Japanese publishers.
That doesn't mean that it didn't exist. But it
I'm
is
just trying to narrow them down.
it is part of a series in a way. It's like an offshoot game. In some way.
It's not a side-scrolling shooter.
You said space shooter, but yes. Was there ever like a spin-off to Contra or something?
Is
No.
is Rare? Is that Japanese?
No.
No. How many questions are we at right now?
13.
Okay, we got 7 questions. 7 questions left.
I'm gonna use
We-
one.
we can-
I'm gonna use one.
Well-
Mike,
Well,
is it a Konami game?
No.
See, I told you.
Well, it saves me trouble.
Yeah, it does.
He
but-
asked about an Enix game. I couldn't ask about a
That's-
Konami. I've been asking for a Konami for a while.
No. I'm just. I told you it's not a Konami game.
Then I can't think of any Japanese publishers that
There was a lot. There was like
I name some.
I can't.
That's why I say I can't.
But like Hudson, Hal used to be. No, Hal was always in house. For the
Should
Super
try and
Nintendo.
focus on narrowing down genre then.
Yeah, because it's not a major, or it's not a publisher that comes to mind immediately. So, is this a role playing game?
No. That's 15.
Could be Namco.
Oh,
Yeah, it could be Namco. What's the genre for Namco?
What's a what?
Genre. Let's do it by genre still, even if it might be Namco.
a shooter.
Well, it's not. Yeah, Aaron was very specific in his side-scrolling space shooter. It's not a first-person shooter though. It's a Super Nintendo game.
No.
So think of like Konami-esque games, or not Konami, Namco-esque games. What's a genre in the games that they released? What are some Namco games that came out on Super Nintendo?
Pac-Man games.
So why don't we just do?
Nate, just think of all the games you can think of, and we'll just.
We need a genre.
we can't name
We need to
it.
narrow it down by genre. We have like 5 questions left.
What'd you ask?
We don't
I
need
said
genre.
RPG, and we know it's not
RPG.
a side-scrolling space shooter.
Space shooter.
Thanks, Aaron. Thanks for your very specific question.
I thought it was gratis.
What was Killer Instinct?
Killer Instinct's a fighting game.
That's rare.
That's also
That's
made by
rare.
Rare.
Yeah.
Western.
Do you think it might be a fighting game?
Could be.
Because it could be like an SNK game or something.
On the Super Nintendo,
Didn't they have some?
exclusive.
No. Did you say exclusive to the Super Nintendo?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should we ask fighting game?
Yeah.
Is this a fighting game?
No.
It's not an RPG. It's not a fighting game.
It's not a side-scrolling space shooter. You know what? It could be a side-scrolling farm shooter. I don't know.
I mean, what other genre? Action game?
Yeah, it's probably just like a beat 'em up.
You know what it could be
What's that?
is Sunsoft.
Oh yeah, Sunsoft had some games.
Is this? This is gonna go out on a limb here. If he answers this, I might guess it. Is this an officially licensed game?
Let me
Like a licensed property?
Yes, yeah.
It's a licensed property, meaning like a property that's not like
No.
it was licensed.
It is not.
It is not.
It is not.
Okay.
So it was not licensed to be a video game.
You have 3 more guesses.
So it's a unique video game. Do we have to guess the title within these 3 guesses?
The last question must be a guess.
All
So we
right.
have 2 questions.
2 questions.
Before we have to guess, right?
Yep. And we are nowhere near.
Should we ask if it's a 2-player game?
That's not a bad thing. What do you think, Aaron?
Hold on. Let's just keep thinking before we answer or ask any questions.
So it's not a licensed game. This was originally made a video game. I
What
wonder
does
if
that mean? Does that mean there's a movie or a book before?
No, it means there was not a movie or book or
Oh.
any other licensed property. It's like it wasn't like
yeah,
a
it's not like it's based
Ninja
on
Turtles or something.
Yeah, Batman or Roadrunners.
Who did F-Zero?
F-Zero was Nintendo. And we've already established it's not a Nintendo first party game.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Uniracer because that's a Western developer.
Yep.
What do we got left? What kind of questions can we ask in these 2 questions that'll get us there?
I mean, the only thing I can think of is like if it was officially released in English, which I'm assuming it was.
I mean,
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
yeah,
Yes.
but it would be weird
Okay.
for it to be a Japanese only game.
I would have like started guessing like Fire Pro or something.
No.
Do you think we should see if there's multiple playable characters? Like,
I don't know if that'll narrow it down well enough.
wouldn't it narrow it down? I mean, it's either that or guess a genre, and the genre could just be action, which doesn't narrow down jack.
Yeah. Let's just come out with some games. I can't think of any.
That might fit this criteria.
That's
I'm drawing a blank. I don't know why.
Because that knocks down a lot of the big stuff.
I mean, we could ask if this was released on
What, virtual console or something?
A virtual console, like Wii Virtual Console.
Yeah. I
What
mean,
would
we
that
haven't gotten a
tell-
lot of yes questions.
That
to be
wouldn't
honest.
tell me anything, though.
It would tell Aaron,
It would tell me.
which is at least useful. All right, should we ask that?
All right, yeah. Mike, was this ever released on the Wii, specifically Wii Virtual Console?
You have to give me a second while I look this up because it's not that information is not readily available.
All right. Bum, 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 bum.
What was that?
Bum, bum.
Western game where you threw dynamite. It was an arcade game.
Were you through dynamite?
Threw dynamite and you shot bullets. It was a Western arcade game.
Bio Billy?
No, that was Nintendo.
Oh,
On the Nintendo.
Oh, Sunset Riders.
Yeah.
That was Konami.
Konami.
we said it wasn't Konami.
I know.
It does not look like it.
It was not released
Was
on Virtual
not
Console.
released on Virtual Console.
Yep, we got one more question to find this obscure video game.
That kind of tells me a lot because they actually released a lot of really noteworthy games on Virtual Console.
Maybe it's not a noteworthy game. I mean, I have to assume it has to be somewhat noteworthy. Otherwise, Mike wouldn't have picked it.
It's noteworthy to me.
Oh,
We have
Mike
two
liked
questions.
So
it. We have one
Well,
question,
one
and then
question.
an answer.
it's not a fighting game and it's not an RPG, correct?
Not a fighting
Yes.
game, not an RPG, not a side-scrolling space shooter.
It's not a sequel, but it's
It's part of a
maybe technically
series.
it may be part of a series.
Kind of. It's like a offshoot. It's related to a series, but not a licensed property.
There's one thing that like pops into my head right now,
Uh-huh.
and it would be a super weird choice.
Uh-huh.
Tecmo released a compilation of Ninja Gaiden games. Ninja Gaiden 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Ninja Gaiden Trilogy. So it wouldn't technically be a sequel, but it would be part of the series.
It was released on the Super Nintendo?
It was released on the Super Nintendo.
So it's the original Ninja Gaiden games, but on the Super Nintendo?
So we could ask,
Is this a compilation?
Do you play a ninja?
That's such a specific
Can you think of
question.
any other games though before you ask that question?
I'm trying to think.
Why do you always think of the super specific questions?
To be
Because
fair,
if they answer yes,
Yeah.
then I would know what it is.
to be fair, he got World of Warcraft in like 9 questions.
Well,
so-
that's true, but
and he got Mega Man 2 really quick too.
do we want to go with the ninja question? Isn't there a better way that we could do this? What's something else that gives you a tell without like saying, "Is this a ninja?" I mean, I guess we could. You know what? Let's do it.
Mike, do you play a ninja in this game?
No,
Oh no! Now we have to guess.
That was no help. No help whatsoever.
We have to guess with all these no answers.
I can't think of anything. I don't know.
All right, we gotta.
We have a lot of information, but it's a lot of negative information that just blocks out things. We had 0 yeses except for the fact that it's on the Super Nintendo. On the Super Nintendo, from a Japanese company, not on Virtual Console, but at least tangentially related to a series. Not a sequel, so it's its own game that's an offshoot to a series that's non-Nintendo branded. Not a licensed property. It's so crazy. What else? What? Not a licensed property. That makes it hard to guess. What's a series that was released on the Super Nintendo that's not a licensed property?
There's a ton of them.
And name one.
Arrow the Acrobat.
is that your
What's
guess?
that? What's that part of the
No.
series from?
It's part of a series. Not like it's the first game in the series.
But this
for
isn't a
that matter.
sequel. Not a sequel.
That's the thing that I've been thinking about is the fact that it's might be considered part of a series but not a sequel.
Yeah. I mean, that leaves all my guesses.
Just pretend you don't know that part.
I mean, but at least all my guesses is nothing. Like, I can't think of a game that is in some way part of a series, but not a sequel. Like, it's not part of a succession of games. It is part of a family of games.
And it wasn't released on Virtual Console.
I'm actually surprised by that one.
What came out on Super Nintendo? Golden Axe?
No, that's Sega.
Well, we didn't eliminate Sega. Oh, wait, no, they never published for the Super Nintendo.
Josh.
Look, it's been a long time since they, exclusively published on not, They used to not, but they do now.
It's not an RPG.
Not an RPG.
Could be a racing game.
Could be a racing game.
A Japanese racing game.
Mm-hmm.
Super Mario Kart, that's Nintendo, right?
Yeah, it's
First
made by
party.
Nintendo.
What's Need for Speed? Who made that?
Yeah.
That's for
think
PlayStation, though, I think.
It's not Japanese.
Oh, not Need for Speed. What was I thinking of? Yeah, Need for Speed.
Thinking Ridge Racer?
No.
Puzzle games.
Oh, yeah. What if it's just a puzzle game? That would make it so it's not a sequel, but is part of a series of games, more or less.
Is Tetris Japanese?
No.
Russian.
So what puzzle games came out on the Super Nintendo?
That's not like first party.
That's not a first party game.
I'm thinking, I can't think of any Super Nintendo games. I'm just thinking a lot of Nintendo games.
All right, I'm thinking you guys are going to have to just blurt something out here.
Aaron, best guess.
Oh, just buy me some time, Josh. Just buy me some time.
All right, I'm going to go over real quick.
Oh, wait a second. What is Adventure Island? Who did Adventure Island?
Hudson.
Did anyone come out for the Super Nintendo?
Yes.
Were they a sequel?
Super Adventure Island, which I would consider a sequel.
Right. It's not a numbered sequel, but it's a sequel.
That's.
I mean, everything that came out on the Super Nintendo was all super or something or other.
That would be something. That's my guess.
Yeah, you would guess that.
I would guess that, but I don't think it's it.
What guess?
He was thinking Super Adventure Island.
It's as good as any.
What's another Hudson game that came out on Super Nintendo?
Bomberman? Super Bomberman?
Well, Hudson.
That B.
Yeah, that B. What did that B come up with? He must have come up with some good video games. Who made Goonies 2? That's a Nintendo game, but that's just a question I have out there.
That was Konami.
Was it? All right. So, Cat.
Minnie wants tuna. She's pulling on my pants.
She's pulling on my chair, too. The Cat wants tuna. We are at the end of our time.
Yep. Best guess.
Best guess. Either a puzzle game or a Hudson game. Or a Hudson puzzle game. Like the best of both worlds. I'm looking at Brandon.
I can't think of anything.
Aaron. Unlicensed. Not a fighting game.
He's
Not an
looking it up.
RPG.
He's looking it up online.
He's not looking it up.
Was this game...
Wait, you got to guess what it is.
Yeah, we have to
That's
guess.
what he's doing.
Are you're naming the game? We have to name the
You
game,
have
right?
to name the game.
Okay.
Yes, I'm naming the game.
It's that game with the penguin in it.
Was this game...
Oh, he's giving me the stink eye. Oh.
All right, come on,
Dear
Aaron.
listener, if you could just say it. You have to say it, or otherwise I'm just going to close it out with no guess.
Was this? I feel like I'm so close.
Yeah. What are you thinking, Aaron? What are you thinking?
Just say what you're thinking.
Side-scrolling beat 'em up.
Mm-hmm.
Final fight.
No specific.
Double Dragon.
I feel like it's a side-scrolling beat 'em up.
Mm-hmm. Side-scrolling beat 'em up, non-licensed.
I can't think of anything that meets the criteria.
We had nothing? All right.
And they said it wasn't a fighting game, right?
Not a fighting game. Yeah. Leaves us with not a whole lot to go on. I feel like it's like either a...
Oh, wait a second.
What?
Oh, I know that's Nintendo.
Oh.
Super Metroid. Super Metroid Nintendo.
Super Nintendo's a
Oh, but that's
sequel.
on the Wii.
All right, what's your guess?
Was this game Ninja Warriors?
That's
Oh,
a-
wait, no, we already asked about it.
That's
We
a,
played
yeah,
it.
Yeah.
you don't play Ninja, and that's on Nintendo.
Also, that
All right.
originated from arcade.
Super Adventure Island.
What
It
is
is. It is not. This
Okay.
game, released by Natsume in 1993.
Moon.
It is a two-player cooperative where you can select
no.
between different characters.
Uh-huh.
It is Pocky and Rocky,
Pocky and Rocky.
Never heard of it.
What?
which does have sequels.
And
And
a top-down shooter.
it's a top-down shooter where you play as a little girl who's at a Shinto shrine and her Tanuki friend who shoots leaves.
I don't
Yeah.
feel bad now because I
Never
never,
heard
heard
of
of
this
it.
You've
game.
never heard of Pocky and Rocky?
No.
Oh, it's
I-
so good. I love Pocky and Rocky. Now, Pocky and
would've-
Rocky with Becky was released on Virtual Console. But Natsume actually, there's an article where they said that those games will likely never come out on Virtual Console.
Mm.
I would have guessed that if we went down that road.
Yeah, if only we hadn't said side-scrolling space shooter as one of our options.
Well, Brandon was actually proposed two good questions: selectable characters, and if it was two-player.
I said selectable character.
Oh, you said selectable characters.
Brandon said two-player.
But
I
together,
don't
our
think-
powers combined.
I think
We had
if we
one good
narrow it
question.
down to like
I wouldn't have been
Ah.
able to get it though. 'Cause
No.
It would have been up to Aaron only.
Top-down shooter, I probably still wouldn't have gotten it.
Yeah, it would have been hard to. I mean, it is technically a shooter, but there's also melee stuff in it too. Like you can use Pocky's tail to bash guys, or Rocky's tail.
I propose that next time we do games that most certainly we would know, but maybe less questions. Because
That's 20 questions.
It's 20 questions.
then
questions.
something I know because
Well,
if I've never heard of the game, then I'm never.
Well, I think Aaron's going to
That's
pick the game
very
next.
abstract.
To be fair, this is the, fourth? Third?
yeah, they've
We
mostly guessed on.
we demolished Mike in the previous... Aaron demolished
Well,
Mike in the previous...
Technically, you did get the Devil May Cry one wrong because
Yeah.
one of the questions was, did this come out within the last 15 years? And it was no. And then the guess was Devil May Cry 3, which most certainly came out within the last 15 years.
Fair enough.
So, and it was Devil May Cry 1. But I mean, I love Pocky and Rocky. I used to rent it from Blockbuster all the time. I loved
Yeah.
it because it satisfied my Japanese obsession. So
Oh,
it's like all these cute little Japanese girl and her Tanuki friend.
it satisfied Mike's obsession with being a little raccoon dog. GameRushmore.onsouthernroad.com, at Game Rushmore on Twitter, GameRushmore@gmail.com for all questions and comments, and On Southern Road on Facebook. Aaron does reviews and things on... Did you ever get your name in that section up there?
What section up there?
Can we go to youtube.com/Laser Ramon yet?
No, not yet.
Oh.
You just search for Laser Ramon.
Search for Laser Ramon or go to
On YouTube.
youtube.com/On Southern Road, and then we'll have a link on the right, I think. I think that's what we could do.
Yeah.
Oh. And that's Brandon. And this has been Game Rushmore.
Did we want to do the live stream next week
Oh, live stream.
for Night Trap?
That's
next
what
Saturday?
my suggestion was going to be. but I don't know what people's plans are.
I will be very
Next
flexible.
Saturday?
Yeah.
Next Saturday.
Saturday, I'm good
Alright.
afternoon.
So we're going to try to do the live stream next Saturday.
I guess we'll
of Night Trap.
tweet and Facebook and info.
Yeah, we'll tweet book.
We'll tweet book.
We'll tweet book. Look for those tweet books.
Tweet books.
Bye.
Bye.
You've never heard of Pocky and Rocky? Aaron knew Pocky and Rocky. My gaming 20 questions this week is going to stump you all.
Really?
Likely story.
What's the
Of
point?
course, I thought that last week, and Aaron got it in 9 guesses. So
It's because Aaron is a freak of nature. He's twice the size of a Super NES.
I really thought it was going to stump him. It was World of Warcraft. I was like, oh, they'll never think PC. These guys don't know what a
Politically
PC
correct.
is.
All the games I play are on PC.
Quite you. But you don't think about Blizzard games.
Josh doesn't think.
There's only 5 Blizzard games.
And you don't think about any of them.
Yeah,
Alright.
there is only.
I think we're set. Who's who?
Oh, there we go. That's what I was looking for right there, baby.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh, look at all those metal
Holy
slimes.
crap.
That's so much
That's a lot of
experience if they do not run away like cowards, because they're all cowards. I don't know if you know how big a deal this is.
Probably not that
Seems
big
like
now.
a pretty big deal. The biggest deal.
The biggest loser.
That's me.